Hello world, Noah here. I'm uploading this video on January 13th, 2023, exactly 10 years after I uploaded the very first video to this channel. That first video was episode 1 of my Bukkit Plugin Coding Tutorial series, so today I wanted to celebrate this milestone by trying to code a Minecraft plugin from memory 10 years later. Let's see how it goes. So if you haven't already seen it, I recently published part 1 of my retrospective on my 10 years of programming, and I talk a lot about my initial start to this YouTube channel back in 2013. I was just learning how to code. I wanted to make a YouTube channel to teach other people how to code, to motivate myself to learn, and I was really into Minecraft, so I decided to make videos on Minecraft plugins. You should definitely check out that video if you haven't already, but today this is going to be a much more informal experience. I'm going to try to code a Minecraft plugin from memory. It's been quite a while, obviously not the full 10 years, but it's been quite a while since I've actually tried to code a Minecraft plugin. So we're gonna just see what happens. Hopefully I remember what I'm doing, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a good nostalgia trip. So before we get started, I want to show you my setup because I spent a decent amount of time trying to recreate the setup that I had back in 2013 as much as possible. So let's check out the computer. As you can see, first of all, I have Minecraft running here. I'm running Minecraft version 1.4.5. It's not quite as old as the version that I was using in the video. I think that was version like 1.3 point something. But as you'll see on the left, I'm running my Bukkit server, which is version 1.4.5, and that's the oldest version that I could find on my external hard drive. I went through all of my old backups, all of my old servers on there, and this was the oldest version of Bukkit that I could find. And I figure this is a really old version. I think the latest version of Minecraft's like 1.19, so 1.4.5 is quite old, and it definitely gets the point across. So we have our Bukkit server running, we have the Minecraft client running, and I want to give a shout out to Minecraft and Mojang for making it so easy to run these old versions of Minecraft. This is like a 9 or 10-year-old version, and the fact that you can just open up today's launcher and say that you want to play this version, you can pick any version that's ever been released and just start playing it. It's really cool because you don't see it that much these days. And then this is all running in the main regular old Mac OS that you'd expect. But if we go over here, I have a virtual machine that's running Mountain Lion. That's the latest version of OS 10, now Mac OS, back in 2013. And I have here pretty much the same version of Eclipse, the Eclipse IDE that I was using back in 2013. So as you can see, this version is from 2012. It's from February of 2012. I don't know why I was already using such an outdated version, but I went back to my first video. I looked at the version of Eclipse that I was using, and this version's like 1 week newer or something, so it's basically the same. And then, of course, I have Java 6 on here as well, so doing a throwback there. And then the last thing is I have the plugins folder. I have my server folder mounted. So this folder right here is the server folder over on the actual version of macOS, and that's a VMware thing that they're mounted together. So if I go ahead and export a plugin and I stick it here in the plugins folder, it will be actually on the modern version of macOS where the server is running, and then I can just reload or restart the server and the plugin will work. So we'll do all of our coding here in Mountain Lion, and then we'll go over to the modern one to test. But of course, it will still be the very old version of Bukkit and the very old version of Minecraft. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started. I had an idea for a plugin. I want to do sort of like an economy, but I want it to be an item-based economy. So the idea that I had is you'll be able to deposit gold ingots into your bank account. So you'll run a command and it'll open an inventory, and you can drag and drop your gold ingots in there. And then when you close the inventory, it will track how many you put in. So if you drag 10 in there, it'll give you, let's say, $100 or something like that. And then once you have this money, you can spend the money. And I think I want to make signs. So there would be like a sign that says buy on it. And if you interact with the sign, it will deduct money from your account and it'll give you an item, whatever item it says on the sign, something like that. So sort of a little economy, but we're going to get some commands. We're going to get some permissions. We'll do some stuff with inventory and items and signs and events and all that. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and create a new Java project. And I'm going to call this one, I guess, Gold Economy. And I'm going to use Java 6 here as my version. And then I need to hit next. I need to go to libraries. I remember this. And I need to add external jars. And I need to add the craftbucket.jar from the server so that it will be available to me on the class path. So that is very important, and I'm glad I remembered that. Then we're going to create the Java file where we'll do all of the coding. So I'm going to name, I'm just going to name it Gold Economy, same as the project. And then the package, I remember I used to use me.pogostick29 dot whatever the name of the plugin was. So we'll go with that. And then we've got our class, our nice empty class here that we can get started with. And then the other thing that we need is a plugin.yml file. And I think that goes in the src folder. And we're going to call it plugin.yml. And then the fields that we need, I know we need the name, Gold Economy. We need the description. I don't know if it's required, but we'll give it a description. And then we need the main class, which is the path to the main class. And then we need the version, right? Okay, so that should all be good. And then over here, I remember we need to extend Java plugin, and I can do Command-Shift-O to do the import. And I'm going to be honest, I forgot about the Java plugin. This is actually my second time trying to make this video. So in the first attempt, I actually spent an hour and a half recording. I made 2 smaller plugins. It was a lot of fun. And then after I finished, I realized that the screen was not recording. So I had the camera and I had the microphone, but I did not have the screen footage. So obviously it was not usable. And so that was not good. So I'm doing this again. I'm doing it with a new plugin, but I will come clean and say that I'm cheating a bit because there were a few things that I forgot, like the Java plugin, and it took me some time last time. Okay, so I went ahead and exported this plugin, and I put it in the plugins folder, I believe. And so let's head back over here, and let's take a quick look. I put it in this root folder, so let's move it to the plugins folder. Okay, and then if I reload, you can see that it loaded and enabled the Gold Economy plugin. So obviously it doesn't do anything yet, but we got it set up correctly. We got the plugin.yml set up. This main class is working, so now we can actually start with the work. And so I think the first thing that we'll do is we're going to make a deposit command. And the deposit command is going to let you deposit gold ingots. And theoretically, you could do like iron ingots and whatever other types of material might be worth different amounts. But we're just going to deal with gold for today. And we're going to make the deposit command. And we could just do, you do /deposit and it will just take all of the gold out of your inventory. But I think it would be fun to actually pop up like a fake inventory. We'll call it like the bank. And you actually like deposit the gold physically into the bank. And then when you close the inventory, it gives you your money and obviously the items disappear. So I want to try to do that. And so this is going to be started by a command. So we're going to use on command here. And then the first thing that we should do is we got to check if command.getName.equals, we'll say deposit. Okay. So if it's the deposit command, and I'm just going to add, I think you want to do return false by default, and that means that you didn't handle it. And I think you return true if you did handle it. I'm not sure exactly. I don't really remember that, but something like that. So we'll say for the deposit, the first thing we'll do. So for the deposit command, we need to make sure that it's actually a player because it wouldn't make sense for the console to do it. And obviously a command sender can be either the player or the console. So let's just add the check outside of here. So we'll say if the sender is not instance of player, then we will send a message, and we'll use the chat color .red, so we'll make it red, and we'll say the console cannot use the economy. And we may want to change that because, you know, maybe there are some commands like checking the top balances or like an admin command to update a balance that we might want the console to do. But for now, we can leave it out here. So now we know that the sender is a player. We know that it's a player. And then we need to get an inventory to open up. So the first thing that we should do is, this is the classic player P equals player sender. And then I think you can do like p.open inventory. Yeah, p.open inventory. And then we need to create an inventory. This is going to be the inventory where they deposit things into. We got to import it, of course. And then let's see. So we can't instantiate inventory directly. I think that there's a way. There's definitely a way to create an inventory. So my rules for this video are, if I don't remember how to do something, I have to actually go to my old videos from 10 years ago and see how to do it. And I'm actually blanking already. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my old videos. Let's look at this one. And let's just look. I'm not even going to watch it. Let's just look through here a bit. Okay, so it's bucket.getServer.create inventory. So that's how you create an inventory. So let's try that. Bucket.getServer.create inventory. And then we got to import bucket. So the holder will be null because it's a fake inventory. I don't know. Let's try 9 slots and see. It might be kind of small. We might want to make it bigger. And then we'll name it. We'll just call it bank. When they hit deposit, we're going to open up the inventory, and then they're going to put some gold in. And then we need to listen for when the player closes the inventory, so we know that we need to take the gold out and update their balance. And so for that, we need to do some events. So we first need onEnable. And this part I did remember. It's bucket.getServer. I think it's .get plugin manager .register events. So this and this. So this class is going to be both the listener and the plugin, and then we'll just have gold economy implement listener, and that's great. And then we need the event handler annotation. And we're going to call this on inventory close. And this is an inventory close event. Yep. See, I remembered that. And that didn't even come up the first time I tried to make this. So we've got the event handler, inventory close event. So when an inventory is closed, we need to check, is it the bank inventory? Is that the inventory that was closed? So we'll say if e.get inventory.getName equals bank. Now we need to count the number of gold that was deposited, and then we need to credit it to the player who put the gold in. So I think we can do e.getInventory.get. So there's .get contents, and that will give us the list of items. So let's just do this. We're going to say int gold equals 0. We're going to loop through. We're going to say for item stack in e.getInventory.get get contents, right? .get contents. And then let's import item stack. We'll import the bucket version. Okay, so for each item, we're going to say if the item is gold. So if the type is equal to material dot gold bar, no, gold ingot, right? Yes. So if the type is material.gold ingot, then we'll say gold plus equals item stack dot get amount. Okay. So now this is the total number of gold ingots that they deposited. So we'll go ahead and save this to our configuration file. And we'll basically, let's just say each gold is worth like $10. So if they put, 5 gold, they have $50 in our economy. So I remember you do get config dot set, and then the path can be, you can specify a path, balance dot, and then the name of the player. So e.getPlayer.getName. And then the value is the amount of gold, and we'll multiply it by 10. So it's the number of gold bars times 10. And then let's just tell the player, we'll do e.getPlayer.send message, and then we'll put this in green, or we'll put it in gold, why not? So we'll put it in gold, and we'll say your balance is now $, and then we're going to do get config dot get int, and the path is again balance dot, and then the name of the player. Okay. And then I'm going to do Command Shift F to format. And okay, so e.getPlayer, it's a human entity, which is not a player. So we're just going to cast it to player. I mean, I guess theoretically we should just check. If not, e.get player instance of player. We'll just return, like, if something other than a player closes this inventory, like that should never happen, but we'll just ignore that. Okay, so then we send them a message and we tell them how much their balance is, and we need to call save config here as well. So we'll get the config, we'll update the balance, we'll save it, and then we'll tell them what their balance is. And I think this is enough for us to test. We do need to register the deposit command. So let's do that real quick. So I remember you do commands, and then I think just the name deposit, and then it has a description, which is deposit some gold or whatever. And then I remember this, I forgot last time, but you can specify the usage, which is just /command. And then theoretically, this first part should work. So let's try this, /deposit. Okay, so it opens up an inventory called bank, and it does indeed have these slots. And if I close it, we got an error. Could not pass event. Null pointer exception on line 33. I guess the item stack is null if there's nothing there, which is kind of annoying. So, okay, if the item stack is null, just continue. Okay, so I do /deposit, it opens up, and then I close it, and it says your balance is now $0, which is exactly what we expect. And then if I go ahead and give myself, let's give 3, I have 3 gold ingots now. Let's try and deposit them, and I'll deposit them like this. So there's 1, and then there's a stack of 2 over there. And if I close this, it says your balance is now $30. So I deposited 3 gold ingots. My balance is now $30. And obviously the gold is gone because it went into that inventory, and the inventory doesn't belong to anyone. So it's, it's gone now. And then if I go over to the plugins folder, we can take a look at the config file. And as you can see, it's saved in their balance. Pogosic29, my username is 30. Now I wanted to do the signs. So basically admins can place down buy signs. And if you interact with the sign, it will, spend a certain amount of gold, and it'll give you some sort of item. Let's just have one sign, and it'll give you like a diamond sword or something like that. So for this one, we need a sign change event. So it's another event. but we need a sign change event. And then we need to see if the user, or if the sign has like the word buy in the first line, and then we'll assume that it's a buy sign. So okay, if e.get line 0 dot equals buy, like that. So if it's just the word buy on the first line, then we'll go ahead and set line 0 to, and let's just put it in gold so that this will be obvious to the user that it actually worked. So if the sign starts with buy, then we'll make it say buy in gold. And we should do a permission check. So we haven't done any permissions yet. And I think deposit we want to let anyone do. But for the signs, obviously, we only want to let admins or whoever has a permission to actually do it. So I think we can do e.get player. Yeah, we can do e.get player. So first we'll say if it's a buy sign, then we need to check if they have permission. So we'll say if e.get player has permission, and then I think we can just call it like gold economy.sign. That should be fine. So if they have permission, then we'll update the line. Otherwise, we want to, what's it called? We want to probably just destroy the sign, because if they try to do this, obviously it won't turn gold, like it won't work, but let's just do e.getBlock.break naturally. So if they try to place the sign, it'll just, cancel, it'll destroy the sign, whatever. And then I remember you have to register the permission. So I think you do like permissions, and then there's like gold economy.sign, and then you give it a description, place buy signs. And then you do the default, and we can do default op. This was another thing that I forgot, and I re-remembered it in the first time I made this video. So, okay, let's give this a try. I already have a balance. We don't have to test deposit again. Let's just de-op myself just in case I was an operator. And then I'm going to give myself a sign. And then I'm going to try and place this down that says buy. So this is what the sign would look like. But as you can see, it broke the sign. And I guess we would want to send them a message and say, like, you don't have permission to place buy signs, but we won't worry about that. I'm going to go ahead and op myself. And now, awesome. So now that I'm an operator, now that I have the permission, the word buy actually turns gold. That means that the event ran. It saw the sign, it saw that I have permission, and it made the text change color. So the sign part is all good to go. The last major thing we need to do is that if a user interacts with the sign, they are going to, first of all, we have to make sure that they have enough money. If they do, then we'll subtract that amount from their balance, and then we'll give them the item. And that is going to be a player interact event. If e.getAction is action dot right click block, so if they're right clicking on a block, and if the block is a sign. So if the state is a sign, then we know that they clicked on a sign. And if we look real quick, sign extends block state, and this is the state. Okay, awesome. So then we can do sign equals, and then we can just type class e.getClicked, get clicked block.getState. And now that we have this instance of sign, we can actually check to see if it says buy on it. So we'll say if sign.get line 0 dot equals, and then it's going to be, we need the gold color because that's what we changed it to, buy. So if it's a buy sign, now we need to actually check, can they afford the item, and then can they buy it? And so let's say that the gold sword costs $100, for example. So we'll say int balance equals get config.get int balance dot e.get player dot get name. Okay, so this is how much money they have, and this is obviously after the times 10. So it's not the number of gold ingots they deposited, it's the amount of money that they have. And then we'll say if the balance is less than 100, then we'll say they don't have enough. So we'll say e.getPlayer.send message, and we'll put it in red, and we'll say you can't afford the item. And then we'll return. Otherwise, they can afford the item. So first, we'll subtract 100. Then we'll do get config.set balance.player name. So to the new balance, which had 100 subtracted from it. And then we'll give them the item. So let's actually make the item. So we got to do item stack, item equals new item stack. And then I think you give it a material. We'll give them a diamond sword. And it'll be 1 sword. And then we'll do an enchantment. So we'll do enchantment dot, let's give them a fire aspect. And we'll give them level 29, right? Level 29 makes sense. And then we'll say e.getPlayer.getInventory.add item, and we'll add our item. And then I guess we could send them a message. Okay, so yeah, when the player interacts, we see if they're right-clicking on a block, we see if it's a sign, we see if it's a buy sign from our plugin, we check if they have enough money, and then we update the balance. Oh, we got to call save config here. That's important. And then we give them a diamond sword. Okay, so if I right click on this, it says you can't afford the item. Theoretically, it should say how much money they actually have, but that's fine. It's not a big deal. So let's go ahead and give myself some gold ingots. So I've got plenty of gold ingots. And let's go ahead and deposit. So my balance is 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Okay, so after this, my balance is now $70. Did it get wiped? Oh, I'm so smart. This should be whatever it was before. This should be whatever the balance was before plus the new balance. So every time you deposit, it was replacing your balance. Okay, that was really stupid. So, okay, let's just say int balance is equal to get config.get int e.getPlayer.get name, or sorry, balance plus. Okay. So we actually need to do balance plus gold times 10. Or we could just say, let's just say here, we can clean this up a little bit. We can say balance plus equals gold times 10. So whatever it was before plus the amount that they deposited, and then we can say your balance is now, and we can actually remove this and just say balance. Okay, that was really stupid of me. First, I got to deposit. So let's try this. If I deposit 2 of them, my balance is now 40, so that's good. It was the 20 plus 20 more. And then let's deposit another 2. My balance is now 60. Okay, so we fixed that bug. And I'll do this, and now my balance is $100. And if I right-click on the sign, we get an error. Amazing. Enchantment level is too high or too low. Okay, that was just kind of silly. Oh, there it is. I just reloaded and it showed up. That's weird. All right, let's try this again. Let's deposit more, and then let's see if I can get a second diamond sword. Okay, I think the server was just like lagging, or there was something weird going on. I don't know what went on there, but okay, now it definitely seems to be working. And just to do this one more time, let's deposit the rest of this. I have $260, so I can buy a third one. There it is. I can buy a fourth one. There it is. And I cannot buy a fifth one because I don't have enough money. And honestly, this plugin is obviously very bare bones, but I think for the purposes of this video, we've done a pretty good amount because we have a nice command here. We have a couple of different events. We're dealing with inventories. We're dealing with items. We're dealing with permissions. We have a permissions check. We got everything registered in our plugin.yml. It's all working. And I think this should just about give us an idea of writing a plugin. So honestly, this was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed watching this, following along with the coding. It was really fun to like sit down and do this because I used to do this so much. Like I would just make plugins all the time, 8-10 years ago. Thank you so much for sticking with me for 10 whole years. It's been pretty crazy. Make sure to check out my retrospective on my 10-year programming journey if you're interested in this kind of stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.